what's up? Welcome to the Deadlifts and Pizza No BS Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. I'm Jaime.
And I'm Laura.
Awesome. And we are peppy and zesty today, aren't we?
Very.
Dude, I'm never sick.
No.
Like, you know that. I'm like never sick. I can't believe I'm the sickest one.
You're the sickest one out of everyone?
Yeah, well, Donovan so far is safe, but we were with our friends who we were gone for 6 weeks, right? Traveling the United States. Didn't get sick once. And then the very last 3 days we were in Atlanta. And when we landed, I saw my friend's car like pulling up, to pick us up. We had all our suitcases. We were waiting out front. And I saw my friend's car and I saw my little nephew's hand sticking out the door, like the window. And I was like so excited. I ran over and I like started like munching on his hand. And then like I looked at him and he just had like goop in his eyes. And I was like, oh God. I was like, what's wrong with him? She was like, oh, I think he has a little cold or something. And then the next day, her husband got sick, was in bed all day. And she was like, I don't feel great. And I was like, oh, thanks a lot, guys. You're going to like give us a bug. And then on the airplane back to Korea, she texted me like, no lie, we all just tested positive for COVID. I was like, oh. So we're going to have COVID. That's what's going to happen. And so the next day I woke up scratchy and so did Camila, but she was only sick for a day. Like day one, she was like not feeling well and I was not feeling well. And then yesterday she was fine, but I was like, like not feeling good. And then today I don't feel great either, but I think my cold medicine's kicking in. So I think I'm functional. It just feels like a bad cold.
Yeah. Every time that we got COVID, I always had it worse. And the kids, like, it didn't even touch them. Jaime had to turn her volume off to cough.
I told you it's just gonna hit me in these fits.
Yeah.
But okay, let's talk about healthy things like health and fitness.
I'm sorry. How was your trip?
It was awesome. It was really awesome overall. It went by really fast. Like I remember before we left, I was like 6 weeks. Oh my gosh, it's going to feel so long. And it didn't. It just felt like it flew by. But then when we got home, it was funny though, because like my son was walking around, like he walked into the house here and he was like, I remember this kitchen. I was like, of course you remember it. We live here. So in those kind of ways, it did feel kind of long because it was like we came back and it was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, you were going all different places. You were here and there, like you traveled a lot. So it probably felt faster because of that.
The time zone switching.
Place. Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily for like jet lag. Like we were fine. We, whatever, but just for like scheduling things, like for work. I was like, I'd be talking to people and I wouldn't know what time zone I was in and then they were in. And then if I'm scheduling something in the future, like a week from now, like, oh yeah, let's get on the phone a week from now. I'm like, I don't know what time zone I'll be in. And I have to recalculate everything. And it was just insane.
Yeah. At least you adjusted to sleep well.
Yeah. All good. And jet lag hasn't been bad. Well, I don't know. Maybe it has been and I just can't tell because I can't tell if it's sick or jet lag, but
Yeah. You want to get your calculator out and do some math?
No. What was that about? You texted me about doing math and I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like barely crawling out of bed in my PJs right now.
Yeah, we're going to do some math today.
Why?
Because it's fun.
No, that's not true. But can you tell me why?
All right. So there was someone posted on Instagram a study that was done on powerlifters and their strength.
And are you going to talk about how elite you are? Is this what we're doing?
No.
Okay. Good.
No, I'm not elite because this is compared to powerlifters. So I'm not elite. These are the people who compete in these sports.
Weren't your deadlift numbers like borderline elite?
Yeah, for regular people, but not for powerlifters. Because they're like, it would be like, yeah, you could be really good at basketball, but in the NBA, would you be considered good? No, because those are like the elite of the elite.
So your jump height is borderline elite also, but for average people, not for an NBA player.
Pretty much.
I told Joaquin about that, my son. I was telling him about that because he was asking about Simone Biles and like how they know she's like the best athlete. And I was talking about how it's something about calculating like how high she can get in the air, like her, the amount of force production that she has.
Yeah.
And so I was using you as an example. And I was like telling him about that thing you did where you put the piece of tape on your finger and you jumped up and touched the wall. And like how I don't remember exactly what your number was, but it was something like ridiculous, like, and how I did it and it wasn't, I don't remember what, I think there's 23 is popping in my head. And then now he wants to do it.
It was close to 23. I think it was like 22 and 3/4 or something.
Yeah, and it's something like so you stand at a wall and you calculate where your head is, right? Is that what it is? How tall you are against the wall, and then you jump.
No, where your hand would be up against the wall.
Where your hand would be normally, and then you jump?
Yeah.
And that difference?
In the difference between the two.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I knew that before when I did it. I just forgot because it's been a while. But when we were at my nephew's baseball game, I think it was later that day or the next day, he was just standing up against a brick wall, like jumping continuously, like slapping the bricks and trying to see which brick he could slap. And he was asking me like which brick do you think Laura could slap? And I was like, I don't know. So
I mean, I am really short, so I was one of those kids that would like touch all the doorways. Like I had to jump up and touch and jump and touch all the doorways as I went through them.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can visualize that. Okay, so powerlifting study.
Powerlifting.
And math.
So this was posted by Menno Henselman.
Oh.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah. We're like half the stuff he posts, I'm like, that's BS.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we don't agree with everything he posts. But I like that he posts a lot of studies. So I like the studies. I just don't always like his take on the studies he posts. So I took pictures so that I would remember. This was from yesterday because we were supposed to do this yesterday. But the funny part was the comments, all right, because this is done on powerlifters. It specifies these are powerlifters. These are people that compete in the sport of powerlifting. And so it talks about what the average squat is, average deadlift. And they in this study, I don't know how they figured it out. What's it say? Collected competition data. That's how they did it. From over 800,000 powerlifters. So I didn't even know there were that many powerlifters.
800,000?
800,000.
So
these are pretty accurate, numbers because it's really big sample size.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about the average of all of these lifts. And the comments were so funny. I'll have to read you the comments after we're done because people were really mad.
Well, what was the point of the study? Like, I'm still figuring out. So what was it?
To see like what the average, powerlifter can squat, bench, deadlift.
Oh, okay.
Did I not say that? I thought.
Well, I guess you did. I was trying to figure out where the math. I'm still trying to. Why do I have to do math?
Okay, I'll get it.
Okay. I'm like waiting for the punchline. You already have the average of all the data, so why do I need to do math?
Yes. Why is this not working? Okay. So the average squat strength was 2.2 times body weight for men.
Oh.
And for women, it was 1.6 times your body weight. That was the average powerlifter.
Average powerlifter is 1.6 times my body weight. And I didn't gain any weight on this trip, by the way. So I'm 2 pounds.
That's
I'm
awesome.
135. I stepped on the scale expecting it to be like a lot.
Yeah.
It was not. Times, what did you say? 1.6?
Yep.
Would be a 216 pound squat. I can't do that.
216.
Can you?
For me, it would be 200, which is exactly my 1 rep max.
So this is a conversation about how elite you are. You lied. You're like, no, not at all.
But then it says, and then it gives you a math problem, but I've already figured this out, so you don't have to figure out this part of the math.
Okay.
Using the standard deviation, what is considered elite among powerlifters? So these are the elite of the elite. So this would be like if you were the best in the world at this. And for squat, wrote it down, I think. It's 2.4 times your body weight.
That's the elite of the elite?
Elite of the elite.
Is this for
So
women,
for me,
or was this just like people?
this was for women.
Oh, okay.
The men was more.
That's 324. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine squatting that.
Yeah, mine's 300. I'm using 125 pounds. I'm a little less than that, but for math purposes, it makes it easier. Oh my
goodness.
So 300 pounds, that would be for me. I don't think that's happening.
Squatting, no. What are the deadlift numbers, though?
All right. So that's squatting.
Next is
bench. We'll save deadlift for last.
Okay, all right.
All right, so for bench, it was
that I'm elite too.
Yes. For bench, it was 1.5 for men, and 1 times your body weight for women was the average.
For bench?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what I can do. I think it's 115, 120.
Yeah. I think yours was 120, maybe?
I think the highest.
Mine's 125, so it's exactly the average again. No, I did 130 when we did the power, but I don't think, like, if I was really competing, I don't think, you have to hold it on your chest for a minute. Not a minute, but, for a second.
I didn't know that's what I was supposed to be doing. Now hold it for 60 seconds.
Sorry. I just talk like that. Hold it for a second and then you push it back up. So I don't think I did that with 130, but I know I could do that with 125. So I'm right there. And then the elite of the elite is 1.6, which would be a 200-pound bench for me. And I can promise you that is not happening.
Yeah, that's a 216-pound bench.
216.
Not
happening.
That's not even a goal. It's too far away to be a goal.
All right, now deadlifting. So deadlifting was 2.3 for men, and then for women, it was 2 times your body weight is the average.
Dang.
What can you do?
That's 270. That's what you can do. So
yeah.
What's... Okay.
So for me, it would be 250. I can do 270. So I'm stronger than the average powerlifter in deadlifting.
I'm telling you, you should compete. You should do a powerlifting. Can you believe Laura's never done a powerlifting competition?
No.
I'm always telling her, like, that's what you should do.
I could, technically I could compete. I'm the average. I'm the average powerlifter. You could just
compete right now.
Yeah. And then to be considered elite, it's 3 times. So for me, that's 375.
Phew. Do you think you could get there? How long do you think it would take?
I actually think I want to try.
Oh my gosh. How much weight is that again? Did you say it?
375.
375. You said times 3?
Yep.
That's 405 pounds for me. There's no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I just want to remind everyone that these are powerlifters. You don't have to be the average powerlifter. These are people who compete in these sports, right? The comments were so funny, though, because people were really mad that they weren't this strong. So this person was like, kind of stupid to take references from competitive lifters as a guide for those that simply want to get stronger for health. Where competition starts is where health ends.
Well, it wasn't that wasn't the point. That was not the point of the thing.
I know.
It never said in it.
It is fun to like see like where you would stack up and compare to people who do this for like,
I know I want to say a living, but it's not necessarily
but they don't
as their sport that compete in it.
I'm not a powerlifter. I don't live to lift and compete. I would appreciate a study on regular gym goers, random sampling. They have that, dummy.
Yeah. People are
so mad.
Ridiculous.
And then someone was like, the average guy weighing 176, squatting 388. LOL. I've gone to countless gyms where dudes over 200 not doing that. I think you missed the point. It's
missed the point.
Not the
average guy. No, these are powerlift. These are literal like people that compete in powerlifting. These are not average lifters.
Yeah. But I thought that was a fun little thing for people, like, to see where you're at.
Totally.
Compared to. actual professionals.
I accept that math. I accept that.
Okay. And I do have one more thing for people at home to compare to regular people. I disagree that when the competition begins, health ends. I don't agree with that. All right. So this is from the strength level website. That's usually where I go. There's another one too that I sometimes like better because it told me I was elite at deadlifting. So it made me kind of happy.
Yeah, I would like that better too. I don't find websites that tell me those things too.
But this is a good one. So there's beginner, novice, intermediate, advanced, and elite. Beginner is you're stronger than 5% of lifters. And for most people, that's, you've been practicing for at least a month. Novice, you're stronger than 20%, practicing for at least 6 months. Intermediate, you're stronger than 50% of lifters, and you've been doing it for at least 2 years. Advanced is stronger than 80% of lifters, and you've been doing it for over 5 years. And then elite is stronger than 95% of lifters, and you've been doing it over 5 years, and you're competitive in strength sports. So genetic wise, a lot of people won't even be able to get to elite.
Right.
Advanced would be, most people's goal to get to. So for squat, beginner is 0.5 times your body weight. Novice is 0.75. Intermediate is 1.25. Advanced is 1.5.
Too much.
Elite is 2.
I'm gone. I want to do a reverse equation.
Yeah, so you take what you can lift and you divide it by your weight.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
I don't remember what I can do. I'm so far removed from that power building that we did. You take what you can lift and divide it by your weight?
Yeah, I think you did like 180 maybe.
What? That's false.
No, you didn't?
Well, I did a 45-pound bar plus, what the heck did I do? 50 on each side, 55, which was 155 is what I thought. It was like 160. I think I did 160.
I thought you did more than that.
It wasn't 180. It could have been 165. I'll be gentle to myself I'll be hard ass on myself and give it 165. Divided by my weight, 135 equals 1.2. Where do I fall?
Intermediate.
I
think you did more than that.
That's a dumb website.
I think you did more than that. I don't think
I did. I think you're giving me too much credit. All right, do my deadlift. What's my deadlift?
Yeah, mine was 1.6, so I'm a little bit over advanced. I'm not quite elite. To get to elite, I would have to do 250 pounds. I actually think I could do that eventually.
250 for a deadlift?
For a squat.
Oh, for squat. No, I'm talking about deadlift.
Yeah, I know. I was just giving you mine because...
No, we already know you're advanced and elite.
I'm matter too.
No, you don't. Let's talk about me. Let's find out where I am elite.
All right,
change the conversation.
We'll go to bench first.
Okay.
So figure out your bench.
Okay.
Beginner is 0.25. This is for people at home too. Novice is 0.5. Intermediate is 0.75. Advanced is 1. And elite is 1.5.
So I did my bench divided by my weight, and I'm 0.8. So I'm barely above intermediate.
Yeah.
All right. Where were you?
I am advanced.
Okay. Shocker.
And
deadlift.
Deadlift. 0.5 is beginner. Novice is 1.
Hold on. I have to figure out that my top deadlift. And we're doing like the top weight. So what did I do? I think I did 240 divided by my weight. Okay. 1.7. Go.
0.5 for beginner. Novice is 1. Intermediate is 1.25. Advanced is 1.75.
That's right.
And elite is 2.5.
That's right. I'm advanced.
Yeah. Elite is 2.5, which is 312.5 for me. I could totally do that.
You could totally get there.
I could totally get there.
Goals for Laura. Become elite.
315 is my goal for deadlift.
When are you going to do that?
I don't know.
Next year?
I want to right now, but we're going to do our quads.
We are.
Boring.
Once I'm not sick anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not bored by that. I'm so excited not to lift 1,000,000 pounds in a deadlift. Like, I just don't want to. Like, I still feel tired from when we did that last year.
I'm doing like a power, kind of similar power building type thing, but not as crazy with the high weights on the power lifting weeks. But I feel like I could do more because I remember now it gives you that break when you do the next week is like more of a hypertrophy focus and you flip it back and forth. And this week is more of a hypertrophy week and I hate it.
Oh, really?
Like today was legs and I didn't want to do it. I was like so sick at the end. Like I don't like it. I'd rather lift a 250-pound deadlift.
Yeah.
Than do split squats and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I hear you. All right. Good stuff. All right. I'm advanced.
You're advanced.
I mean, I am advanced. In strength training in general, I consider myself advanced, but this is about like pure strength numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like deadlifting advanced.
I feel like you didn't give yourself enough credit in some of them. I think you lifted more than you just said.
Well, here's a question. Is it based on 1 rep max? Because those weren't my 1 rep max numbers. Those are the most I did for like 3.
Yeah.
I'm advanced in everything.
It's based on, your 1 rep max.
Yeah, duh.
Did I not say that?
I mean, yeah, I knew that that's what it was logically, but in my mind,
because when you said 240 for your deadlift, I'm like, I think you did more than that.
I never actually only did 1 rep, so I wasn't calculating it as 1 rep max. I was calculating it as the most I've ever lifted, and I've never actually lifted a 1 rep max. I've done like 3.
Yeah, you did. When we did the program, we did 1.
Well, then I don't know what it was then.
I think your squat was like 170.
Okay.
Maybe 180 was too much. I don't remember what it was for deadlift. It might have been like 245.
It was advanced.
250.
All of them. All of my numbers are advanced. That's all the people need to know.
Except your bench.
That's also close. Advanced.
No, you can't do 135.
No, I don't think I can.
All right. Do you want to go to the group questions? Because I didn't have any other topics.
We had some good ones, actually.
I took pictures of everything that I wanted to talk about because instead of writing it down.
Okay.
All right. How about training with an injury?
Oh.
That was asked twice.
That was my least favorite one.
I know. It was asked twice.
Oh, I don't want to talk about being sick and injured.
Yeah, that's true. We can save that for another one.
No, we can do it. People ask. The people want to know.
Yeah.
You want me to say something first, or do you want to respond first?
You can go first.
My first thought is, and I don't know why I'm lumping sick and injured in the same thing, because they're not the same thing. Injured. You can always train around any injury, right? That's my very first thought, is like you can train around any injury. And I know that it's super frustrating and it's very demoralizing, especially if you are in a zone where you've really been like making progress towards a goal. So for some people, they're in the middle of a program and they're making progress towards a goal, and getting injured just totally derails that. And it can be so frustrating, so demoralizing that they don't want to train at all. But the reality is you can totally switch your focus. For this person, because I know who asked it. Well, I know one of the people asked it. You said 2 people asked it. This person was just trying to get back into the swing of things, I think, and then got injured. And so it just kind of like delayed all of that. Either way, it can be so demoralizing because you're trying to do X and you absolutely cannot because you've been injured. So my main thing is always like, you have to like reroute your mind to like what you need to do to get through the next 6 or 8 weeks or whatever the injury is, whatever the heal time is, wherever it is. I always recommend go to the gym, do all of the exercises you might normally do, just do like 1 set and see what hurts, because it depends. Are we talking shoulder injury, toe injury, like whatever it might be? What hurts, what doesn't? If it hurts, don't do it. It goes on the red light list. If it doesn't hurt, or if it's not the body part that's injured, then it goes on the check mark list. Now, a back injury is a whole other conversation, but for the most part, you have to figure out a way that you can still be active and still get your training in, because that's going to keep you on track, not only physically, but like mentally as well. You don't want to derail everything.
Yeah, I agree. And it depends on if it's like a chronic injury or an acute
Mm-hmm.
injury too. So if it's something that you like broke your arm, that's a little different than if you have this like chronic pain and injury that sometimes you probably can just work through. Like
Mm-hmm.
remember when I hurt my shoulder? That was
Yep.
more like a chronic injury, and I just continued to just keep working out and just doing stuff, doing a competition with you with bench and everything and
And becoming elite at it.
yeah.
But
I think it
whatever.
did limit my cuz my bench is lagging, but yeah, but you can work around things or work through it, and I think some people use it, not I don't want to say use it as an excuse, but you can still do things. It doesn't mean you can't do anything.
Well, they do
Just
use
work
it
around it.
as an excuse, and like said in like kind of like a loving way. Like we all do that. We all have something that
Yeah.
happens, and it feels so hard to overcome. And a lot of that is mental because you feel, like I said, so derailed and so demoralized, and it does
Hmm.
become an excuse. But when you can
Yeah.
get over that hump and recognize that you still have control of a lot of things, so instead of
Yeah.
looking at, and I think it's human nature to be frustrated and look at what we don't have control of and be so frustrated, but you have to reroute that and say, okay, what can I control? And you have to make a new plan based on what you can control while you nurse that injury, or whatever plan is going on in the background to get better from said injury. But you do have control over a lot, and exactly what that's going to look like you said, depends on if it's chronic or acute, depends on where the injury is, depends on how bad it is, depends on, there's a lot of things. But even if somebody's in a wheelchair, you still have stuff that you can control. And so looking at what you
Yeah.
can control, and I like to actually make a list, like get out pen and paper, your notes on your phone, whatever it is, and literally write down everything you can control and what you can do, and work off of that list instead of spending time thinking about all the things you can't do.
Exactly. That's advice for life in general.
Yep. That's actually
It's
very true.
it's great
Life
advice.
injuries. Thank
um
you for coming
I
to
was
this therapy session
it's
TED Talk. I'm going to turn
I
my
had
mic
one
down
other
and
thought, but
cough
it
now.
disappeared. Yes. You're very attractive when you
Oh,
do
that was a
that.
good one. Yeah, don't watch this on YouTube. Just listen, because then you won't hear it or see it.
All right. More questions. How about
What is
training
it?
in relation to menstrual cycle?
I have my opinions on
It's
that one.
it's kind of it's not similar, but almost similar. Just I don't like I mean, I don't think that you should change up your programming based on your menstrual cycle, because I think there are some people out there that do that. I think that limits you, because what if you are strong that week? You don't really know what's going to happen. So I don't think you should do that. You will be stronger at certain times of your cycle. I didn't really notice that until I got to my elite status,
Oh.
that I was that I was stronger at certain times, because I was just continuing like progress even when I was feeling that way. But now I can tell, and there'll be some days where I'm like, what is wrong with me today? I don't understand why this feels so heavy. And then I'll think about it and be like, oh, it's the week before my period, which is when I'm usually the weakest. But I don't go into my workout thinking that I'm going to be weak that day. It just ends up happening. And I don't think it's something that you should focus too much on. But if you are, feeling crappy or whatever, just do your workout anyway. You just might not be able to push as hard as you normally would.
Yeah. I remember, because when I got to my elite status, I also noticed the same. And there would be times where, yeah, it's like, this feels impossible. And I'll look at the weight that I did last week and I'm like, there's no way that's true. I must have mistyped. I didn't mistype. But yeah, then you look at your cycle and you realize. And I remember when cycle training first kind of became a thing that was like talked about more. And I remember at first I was like, oh, that's genius. Like if you just plan around it, then you
Yeah.
can really lean into the phases, because most people, everybody's a little bit different, but most people feel their weakest right before their period, and then you get your period and you actually, the strength goes up and you feel like a badass. that's the typical flow, and everybody's a little bit different. I think it's important to be aware, like start paying attention and kind of see how you feel in those times and see what you notice about yourself. But I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, that's a really good idea. Because I love the idea in life, like with fitness and nutrition. I've always been a fan of leaning into the idea of like, look at what your life looks like and then like play on your strengths and weaknesses. And like, instead of feeling like you have to meet this one certain ideal, like think about you and how it fits in your lifestyle. And that to me like lined up. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. You lean in, you plan your light weeks for the weeks you know you're going to be weaker, and you plan your strong weeks. But then the more that it was talked about and the more it's like research that came out about it, I totally flipped my stance. Because yeah, if you plan to be like weak,
Yeah.
because it can change. Like, yeah, we have these typical trends, but you
Mhm.
also, I think we can all attest, you also have those months where like you didn't necessarily follow the trend. Like, oh wow, I actually felt really good this week, and even despite it's the week of my period. Or wow, this usually I feel really strong, but I feel really weak. And maybe it's for other reasons. Maybe it has nothing to do with your cycle. Maybe you're like not feeling that well, or fighting off a cold, or you didn't get enough sleep. And there's other reasons why you might feel weaker or stronger in patterns that don't fit. And if you plan to like be weak or be strong, then it can totally mess you up, and it doesn't leave room for that. So I think there's a balance between the two of like paying attention to what your trends are and going easy on yourself if you're leaning into that trend and feeling weaker, 1 week or whatever, but not planning your whole training around it, for sure.
No. And sometimes it can give you that validation of like, oh, that's why I'm weak this week, and that's fine. But don't plan on it. Yeah. Plan on giving it your all that day anyway.
Because a
Yeah,
lot of
I
times
agree.
people will, if you're not, I know I do this, and I know I've had clients do this, and I think it's a little bit common. There's people that like really pay attention to their cycle and they're aware, but a lot of people might not necessarily pay super attention to like when it's coming, et cetera. And you might have like a really crappy workout, and it could be connected to your cycle, or it could not be. It could be connected to bad sleep, or there could be lots of reasons why you have a really crappy workout. But if you have a really crappy workout and then another really crappy workout, and you just feel like crap, that can be enough to like derail you, because in your mind, you're like feeling like crap. You're like, I suck and all this stuff. And you can, but so like you said, having that validation of being like, hey, there's other things going on. It's fine. Get back in there. Do your best the next time. And it'll come back. And we go through these cycles, and it's normal.
It definitely makes me feel better, because on those weeks I'm like, what is happening? Because I'm not used to being weak, so
Of course not.
the
Of course you're not.
next week I'm like, oh, let's be fine. Next week I'll be back at it. So
well, what's the worst is when it's the worst when you're like feeling like crap and you're like, oh man, this is so hard. Oh, let me check my cycle. And then you realize you're like supposed to be in your strong phase, and you're like, I just suck.
that never happens to me.
Of course not, because you're elite.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, I'm done. I'm done saying that shit.
You're not.
No. All right. I think we covered that, right?
Yeah. Next up,
just run through these questions. This one might be a little bit longer. It is, nope, that's not where I'm supposed to be. Hold on.
You're supposed to be ready with these questions. Bam, bam.
I know, I'm sorry. I want to read them. Zone 2 cardio versus HIIT versus sprint training.
Woo. Go.
You want me to go?
Yep.
All right. All right. Zone 2 cardio.
Zone 2 for the win.
Is really good for health, longevity, increase your endurance. So many benefits of it, and it's not as taxing as some other types of exercise, so you can do it more often, and you can do it pretty much every day if you want to. But you have to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You don't have to do anything. What?
In Zone 2 and cardio, you have to do nothing. Let's define Zone 2 cardio, because it's such a thing that's going around.
That's where I was going.
So Zone 2 cardio, the way I like to describe it, is when you are out of breath enough that you're breathing hard and your heart's pumping, but you can still hold a conversation, but with breaks in between. It couldn't be as fluid as it is right now, but you can get a couple words out, take a deep breath, get a couple words out. If you are beyond the point that you can have a conversation, then you're out of Zone 2. And the reason why I like to use that barometer is because Zone 2, that can look different. Some people can get to that point by walking. Some people can be like literally running and sprinting and still be able to have a conversation, which is not me, because I'm not elite at this, right?
I am
Uh,
not elite at that. Definitely not.
I think I would beat you in cardiovascular, maybe.
Oh yeah, you
We
would.
should do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like how fast you run a mile or something?
I don't know. We'll figure it out off air. I don't want to compete cardiovascularly, but I just want to beat you at something. Anyway, so yeah, that is essentially zone 2 cardio. For me, it's like a jog. I can go on a jog and hold a conversation the
Mhm.
whole time. But be
Yeah,
out
and
of breath and
you should
sweating.
be able to do it for like an hour, and it's supposed to be 60 to 70% of your max heart rate, but I don't know if people are going to actually like, calculate that out or
Right.
whatever. But yeah. HIIT training is most people do this incorrectly. I think
Yep.
they do more interval training and they
Mm-hmm.
think it's HIIT training. If you do actual HIIT training, you should only be able to do it maybe like 8 minutes, you know, 10
Yeah.
minutes
I usually
maybe.
say like 15 tops.
Yeah, you know, 8 to 15. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go. I mean, some people say 20, but if you're going 20 minutes, you're
True.
probably more, if you can actually sustain it for 20 minutes and you're doing it correctly, you're probably more of an elite athlete to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But so for HIIT training, you're going to do short bursts of certain exercises. It could be like cardio exercise. It could be with weights. You can do, all different kinds of exercises. And you're going to do that exercise for a short duration, but all out intensity. Then you're going to rest. And then you're going to go back to it. And you're going to rest. And the intervals and all of that can be different depending on your, uh, I don't know, uh, what's the word?
I mean, I think in general,
Experience level.
you want really short. I mean, I'm thinking of like Tabata training where you go all out for like 20
Yeah.
seconds, then a 10-second rest. So it is short periods of rest and all out on the
Yeah.
periods that you're on.
Yeah. And I don't think Tabata is good for most people because I don't actually think 10 seconds is enough rest for them to go back into that to actually reap the benefits of HIIT training.
Mm.
I think you would need to rest longer than that
How long would you
because I don't
recommend?
think probably 20 seconds on, like, I don't know. It depends on the person, you
Yeah.
know?
And what would be the benefits of HIIT training?
You can still build muscle. It's not going to be like strength training, but you can still build muscle. You can improve your VO2 max. You
Mm-hmm.
burn a lot of calories doing it. People talk about EPOC all the time, so you burn calories after you're done. But
Yes, but even then, so that's true. But even
yeah,
then, I wouldn't recommend. If somebody was looking to lose body fat, I wouldn't say you should go do HIIT. So that's kind of how it got
no,
kind of mixed up in there. I was like, oh, you burn calories after. Well, you know what? You burn even more calories after doing strength training.
yeah,
The
right,
amount of calories you burn
yeah,
after is not going to be the difference between you losing like 10 pounds or you losing like 1 pound.
mm-mm.
So
And I guess another benefit is you can do it quickly. You can get the
yeah,
workout done really quickly. I don't recommend many people do this. I don't think it's necessary unless you just want to do like one time a week and just to have that like quick workout in. And some people like the way it makes them feel,
yeah,
who like that.
I hate the way it
So
makes me feel. I hate that feeling of like,
I don't like it.
I don't
No,
like
I
it.
feel, I rarely ever do
I'm
HIIT
basically
training.
doing, it feels like I'm doing, well, would you qualify this as HIIT? Maybe you would. In Taekwondo, when he has us go do the kind of, it's almost like sparring, target training. So he takes the target and he's running around the room and you're just like
Hmm.
attacking him as if he's a attacker. And it is like all out. Like when you walk off that mat, you are completely dripping. And I remember one of the guys and so out of breath. Like one of the guys always just falls on the ground. He
Yeah.
literally has to lay down and catch his breath. And it is just all out. And he asked me once when I got off, he was like, how long do you think you're out there? I was like 20 seconds. And he was like, it was 60. Like that was a minute. I
Yeah.
was like, holy crap, it was a minute. Like, I can't believe I went that long for a minute. But then you rest like a full, like everybody else goes and does their thing. So you're resting like a full, but you go out there for like a full minute. It is all out. Would you
Yeah.
consider that HIIT?
A minute's a long time
It is a long
to
time.
to sustain it. So I don't know if I would actually be considered HIIT because a minute is so long.
It's this really high intensity interval, right? Maybe it's some kind of weird thing in between like interval training and HIIT, because it's very high intensity.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, I'm on an uphill now and now I'm on a downhill. It is like, I think I'm going to die and then I'm not dead. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Look, I lived. A couple minutes later, let's go do it again. It's really hard.
And that's the other thing people sometimes do wrong is they'll do the exercise for like 60 seconds. You can't maintain that high intensity for 60 seconds.
Yeah, you can't. You
cannot.
You can't.
Sprint training. I love sprint training.
Isn't sprint training similar to HIIT?
It's very similar, but different. If you're actually sprint training, the goal is to get faster, right? So you're not taking short breaks. If you're actually doing full-on sprint training, you are going to run as fast as you can for maybe 10 seconds. Like, it's going to be a short burst, 5 to 10 seconds. And then you're going to rest for like 3 minutes and then go back into it.
That feels like HIIT to me.
It's very similar.
Yeah. But with a specific goal. Yeah.
With a different goal. Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar. And you can actually build, muscles in your quads and everything. Remember when you and I both were doing sprints and we were both like, oh, our quads are so sore.
My gosh, yeah. I was like mind blown.
Yeah.
I think I did it. You said you made it sound like we did it a lot. I think I did it one time.
Oh, I did it multiple times. It's just hard to find a place to do it. That's why I don't do it more often. And I don't like doing it on the treadmill because I don't like having to run and then jump off of it.
No.
You need one of those ones that are like thousands of dollars that you move yourself that aren't like, I don't know.
I also don't like the idea of ramping up the treadmill. I like to just go from nothing to like as fast as I can on pavement. Yeah, I would never want to do that on a treadmill.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing. You need seconds. You need like a second to speed up to your speed, to get up to your speed. And with this, you'd have to just like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, so the question was just comparing them. So there's lots of ways we compare them. Are we talking health? Are we talking fat loss? Are we talking like, it depends on what your goal is. But for most people, including some sort of zone 2 cardio in your routine is definitely recommended. Including HIIT or sprint training, not necessarily. I would only program those for people if they had, I don't know if I would ever program HIIT for somebody, honestly. There's been very few times where I have deliberately programmed somebody to do HIIT. Sprints, yes, if they have a specific goal for sprinting or getting faster.
Yeah.
But just HIIT in general, times that I do that is usually when I have one of those just like very highly active buzzing clients that loves the feeling of having their heart rate going. I'll do like periods of that throughout, or somebody that just needs to get in a little bit more cardio and they enjoy that kind of training. But for most people, especially somebody, honestly, if somebody has a bigger fat loss goal, so not like a vanity fat loss goal, but like an actual maybe health related fat loss goal, which is normally like a little bit more weight, I would never program a HIIT because a lot of those exercises, I do not want those clients jumping. I do not want them doing these exercises. The only people that should be doing like plyometric exercises like that are people that have the strength and the stability and the experience to do it.
Actually, like doing like box jumps shouldn't be something that you put in your HIIT program. You shouldn't be doing those because box jumps are designed to improve power, and doing those to failure that way, with that high intensity and when you're exhausted is not good. There's a big chance of getting injured by doing that.
Yeah, well, especially because a lot of people, when they do box jumps, they jump up and then they jump back down.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're doing HIIT, and you're supposed to, step down from the box, if you're doing HIIT, that gives you like a little break in between.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before I had to turn my mic down to cough like a maniac. But yeah, you're not supposed to, the point of like box jumps in particular is to create the power of jumping up onto the box, and then you're supposed to step down. But I'll see people like jump up and then hop back down and jump up and hop back down. And man, you're gonna rip your Achilles doing that. So not recommended. So knowing, I guess the point with all this stuff is when you're choosing some sort of cardiovascular thing that you want to include in your training, like have a reason. Like if you're just throwing it in there because you heard it was great for fat loss and stuff like that, that's probably not a great reason. Like let's get really clear on like what's our goal and why are we utilizing it. And if it's general health and calorie burn and cardiovascular health, then zone 2. Right?
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend HIIT for a beginner at all. Like and feel like that's where they gravitate towards because it's burns so many calories.
Yeah, you know? Quote unquote.
So people sorry if you can't see me.
Yeah.
And so that's where people start, but it's the worst place to start. Don't start there.
Well, and also that kind of drifts into another thing. I very strongly believe that in general, you should not approach fitness with a how many calories can I burn mindset. If you're approaching fitness with an idea of how many calories can I burn, then you're approaching it wrong and you are going to keep spinning your wheels and you need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, definitely. That's when I started making progress, when I was focused on getting stronger and not how many calories I was burning.
Approach fitness, pick what you're going to do for physical activity, strength training, cardio, all of it, yoga, stretching, mobility, all of it with a goal in mind. You want to get better, you want to get faster, you want to get stronger. You have a progress goal in mind.
Yeah.
And that is going to help fuel and be the base for every aesthetic goal you have is if you build it from that, working backwards. But if you approach it with how can I burn as many calories as possible, then you're going to continue to spin your wheels. 100%.
Yeah. The only time I've programmed HIIT for somebody was when they were doing a mud run, and it was kind of HIIT. It wasn't even like full on HIIT. It was more like interval training, but similar to HIIT. That was like, I think, and that's what the reason was. They were trying to get better at that. So I was putting in exercises to help them get better at that particular goal that they were trying to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So having that specific goal in mind, I think is really important with anything that you're doing, with any exercise. When people ask me like, oh, what do you think of, I don't know, XYZ? I'm like, well, what's your goal? What do you want? What do you want to achieve?
Yeah.
What do you like? Yeah. And part of it isn't necessarily goal. It can be, what do you like? Do you enjoy it? That can be a reason. I enjoy it. And being active is always good. So that can be a reason. But it shouldn't be like, oh, I heard this burns the most calories. No, don't do it for that.
Yeah, no. It's a losing battle.
Totally.
A lot of times when you do that stuff, you end up lowering your NEAT anyway.
Yes.
And you don't even realize it because you end up burning less calories throughout the day anyway because you don't move as much.
Yeah. So imagine going all out for 15 minutes because you heard that was the best way to lose fat and burn calories. So you go all out for 15, 20 minutes and the whole rest of the day, you're like a potato.
Yeah.
You are just, and I've had those times where I have like gone all out for some particular, whatever it might be. Like I did some kind of high intensity exercise or whatever. And I am just so like, bleh. You know what I mean? And you're not moving, you're not getting up, you're looking for excuses to sit down, your hands aren't moving when you're talking. And yeah, the overall calories that you might have burned, if we're talking about calorie burn, which again, I don't think we should, but that's the point, is your overall calorie burn is going down because you're not moving as much because you put all of your, so it's always a losing battle to chase calorie burn.
I think of like people who go to classes like that and they feel like, well, I did my work for today. And then they feel like they don't have to move the rest of the day. And that's why they don't get any results.
I saw this. It was like, you reminded me of like a reel or something I saw where it's like this black guy and he's specifically saying like things that white people say.
Oh, did I say something that white people
one of
say?
The things is always like, wow, I got my workout in for the day. The way he does it is so funny. But it'll be like silly things where like somebody like helps somebody put some boxes in their car. It's like, wow, I got my workout in for the day.
They do that.
There's a lot of things this guy said that was so funny. I wish I could remember some more of them. I was like, oh my God, we do that. But But I always laugh when people say that, or people will say it to me. Like, I'll have done something like active in front of other people. I don't know. And they'll be like, wow, you got your workout in for the day. And I'm just like, like, no, I was just periodically active. Like, that's normal. I don't know. Why is this making me cry? I don't know. I just think that, sorry, if you're one of those people out there, all the people listening, if you're one of those people that does something mildly active in your day and then you say, wow, that was my workout for the, it was not. I'm sorry. I love you, but that was not it. I was listening to the Jordan and Mike's podcast the other day. I don't know if you listened to this one where they were talking about recreational sports and like people that do rec sports. And Mike was saying, like adults that do rec sports, like a rec soccer team or something. And Mike was saying they had he was like, I don't remember exactly what the stance was, but like rec sports are a waste of time. And Jordan was like, I feel the complete opposite, like do share. And Mike's point was basically like, people use this 1 or 2 time a week that they do their rec sport as their excuse not to do anything else. And it's the same basic idea. It's like that was not like, that was fun and that was active and that was good, but that those kinds of activities should be part of your lifestyle without it being your workout. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I'm more on Jordan's side, like all activity is good activity. And I'm never going to tell you that's a bad thing. How can we implement more specific workouts to like maybe get better at your sport or to whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, people are, oh man, I can't, bro. I play soccer once a week and it is very intense. So I can't do anything else. That's my workout.
I might be that way if I didn't like find strength training, you know, did my workout for today.
Yeah.
Well, I ran outside with the children.
A little bit. Yeah. Because with cardio, like, okay, like if it's an off day from strength training and I like go play tag or like, I don't know, do some kind of like fun activity where I'm very active, but I don't consider it a workout. Like, okay, I was really active today. That's all. It's like active rest. Like, okay, I went swimming with the kids. Like, wow, that's active rest. That's good. But I don't think like, oh, it was my workout.
Yeah, that's how I think of it now. I was like, oh, that's good. I was active.
Yeah. Or like if it's on a day that I'm supposed to work out and I haven't yet, I'm almost like, oh crap, I was too active and that's going to make me feel tired for my workout. What do I need to do? Okay, I need coffee. I need extra calories. I need some rest. I need to move my workout a little later because this is like going to exhaust me a little bit for it.
Luckily, I work out in the morning, so I don't have that problem.
Yeah, that's good.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I had.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we're done. So
yeah.
Good chat.
Yeah.
You can sign us off. I'm going to cough.
All right. I'm just going to say bye. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Guys.
Bye.
See you next. Hey, I'm going to get better at doing this earlier. If you like this podcast, please give us a 5-star review. It would help us out a lot. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. See you next week.
Bye.